ahead of the game.
Hi, I'm Kelsa Dickey, the CEO of the Financial Coach Academy and my financial coaching business, Fiscal Fitness Phoenix. My coaching journey began more than a decade ago with me helping people for free from my dining room table. What was once a little business of mine has grown into a 7-figure company that employs a team of people. My goal is simple: to help you fall more and more in love with financial coaching. I believe financial coaching is the most rewarding way to make a living. If you are an aspiring financial coach or have been coaching for years, I'm here to help you create a business you love that gets your clients massive results. Let's get to it. Hey, financial coach. We are so excited to bring you this episode 9, How to Get Clients as a Financial Coach. I am sure you are genuinely curious. When I do coaching calls with financial coaches, which I do a few every single week, this is probably the question most often asked is, how do I get clients? Or I ask somebody, like, what are you most worried about in becoming a financial coach? And this is the number one worry. I don't know how I'm going to get clients. So we are absolutely going to tackle that in this episode. I'm super excited. But first, before we do that, I want to talk with you really quickly about the Client Creator Challenge. If you get our emails, then you probably already know what this is. In fact, you're probably already registered for the Client Creator Challenge. But if you are listening to this episode on the day it drops, which is January 12th, 2023, then the Client Creator Challenge kicks off in just 3 days, which means you've got 3 days to register and join us. So what is the Client Creator Challenge? It's a 90-day program designed to turn you into a client-attracting, amazing coach. We focus on a number of things: how you articulate your offer, your bold messaging, your program design, and ultimately boosting your confidence and your joy in getting clients to work with you and attracting clients. In 2022, we had 28 totally awesome financial coaches join the Client Creator Challenge, and they added, just those 28 coaches added 147 brand new clients to their rosters. Those were new clients who signed, not clients who kept continuing coaching with them, but brand new coaching clients in those 90 days. They generated an average of $6,625 in new revenue per coach in those 90 days. It was incredible. Not only do you get massive results, but you have a lot of fun doing it because you're surrounded by a whole bunch of coaches and me and my team cheering you on and coaching you through the entire process. If you want to help more people in 2023, but you want to also create a client attraction system that works and doesn't require you to keep winging it, and you simply hope that you don't want to just hope that you'll get a client. You don't want to just wing it anymore. You want to have like a really good system in place that you feel confident in. Then the Client Creator Challenge is perfect for you. So if you're interested, head over to financialcoachacademy.com. And at the top, you're going to see events. Click on events, and under events, click on Client Creator Challenge. And make sure you join us. Like I said, we start in just a few days. So you've got a few days to make your decision. But that actually perfectly leads me to the topic of this episode, which is, how do I get clients as a financial coach? When you first start, clients will likely come from people you know, your friends and family. This is known as sort of like your immediate sphere of influence, people that you already know. I'm going to do an entirely separate episode on this topic alone because coaching friends and family can oftentimes feel a little different than when we're coaching people we haven't had a conversation with before. And there's good and bad about it. So we're going to tackle that in a new episode. But what I want you to know about getting clients is this one key takeaway, and then we're going to dive into this more throughout the episode. Conversations create cash. Conversations create cash. And conversations can be online, in person. You can have a one-to-one conversation. You can have a one-to-many conversation where you're speaking to a whole bunch of people about what you do. But they all involve you talking about what you do as a financial coach. So just right out the gate in this episode, I want to ask you a question. How many conversations would you say that you are having per week where you are talking with someone about what you do, about financial coaching, right? For most coaches, this is probably the biggest area of focus and growth for you. If when I ask you that question, you think, I don't know if it's per week, but maybe I could come up with a number per month. So you're thinking maybe 1 or 2 per month. We need to get it so that your answer is something per week. You need to be having conversations on a regular, consistent basis about yourself as a financial coach and what you do. So first, you want to get the word out, and this is going to happen by you getting the word out, okay? So maybe you're going to attend networking groups, things like BNI, so Business Networking International. You can check that out. There's also LeTip. There's some more private, smaller networking groups in your area. I simply recommend Googling networking group near me, okay? One-to-ones with strategic partners. We're also going to talk about strategic partnerships or referral partners in a future episode. But essentially, that is somebody who is in front of your ideal client on a regular basis, and they're already having conversations with your person, your perfect person, right? And so that person is already having those conversations. That person's going to refer to you. And those referrals tend to be more warm in nature because they're coming from a trusted source, right? So one-to-ones with strategic partners is really important. I try to do one-to-one per week. Honestly, I try to connect with somebody. And sometimes those one-to-ones are a referral partner that I've known for 10 years. And we're just re-engaging. We're having a conversation. We're going for coffee to catch up, right? And sometimes it's someone I've never talked to before, and we're getting to know each other. And I'm talking about what I do, and I'm learning about what they do, right? You can also get the word out by doing workshops or presentations. You can do these at your library or for organizations such as workplaces, community groups, or professional associations are just a few examples of places where you can offer workshops or presentations. Speaking events in any stage counts for a speaking event. What I mean by that is some stages are virtual, right? So you could be interviewed on a podcast. You could do a Facebook group, like a live inside of a Facebook group. You could be interviewed on someone's YouTube channel. A virtual space is absolutely a stage as well. And it can be your own space, so your own Facebook group, your own TikTok, that kind of thing, or someone else's group. So you could actually go and give a workshop inside of a business coach's mastermind for her clients, let's say, okay? You can also get your word out by your email list, typically a freebie on your website that maybe captures exactly what you do for people. Social media, and you can do that for free. Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Clubhouse, so many different options there, right? And then social media, the paid options. So ads, podcasting, YouTube, buying leads. Don't typically recommend that as a financial coach, but it is an option. So I wanted to mention it. But typically buying leads tends to be more about quantity and not so much quality. So you're going to feel like you have to do a lot of work in order to convert those leads. Versus if I do a conversation with a referral partner, I might not get tons of leads from that person, but when I do get one, it's probably that client's ready to go and they're more educated about what they're getting themselves into and whether or not it's a good fit for them, right? Another way to get your word out is websites, your SEO, blogging. This is not everything when you first start, so just keep that in mind. Maybe having a place where you can go and have a couple of key blog posts, a couple of like sort of capstone articles, things that really represent what you're about and who you are. Think about like the frequently asked questions you may get, and just having each one be a blog post would be one option as well. Chances are when you first start, you're going to have a combination of these things, okay? So you might have a combination of online conversations that you're having and some in-person conversations. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in just a second. But I also wanted to talk about how you can get the word out by others, other people getting the word out for you, and that it's not just all on your shoulders. The number one way of doing this is client referral programs. Past and current clients should become the number one source of business for you after a while, right? So this doesn't happen right away. So it's like, well, we need to get clients in order to get them results, in order to then have them leave us a testimonial or a review and want to refer to us, right? So it's kind of like which comes first, the chicken or the egg. Eventually, though, what you're shooting for is that the bulk of your referrals and leads and future clients come from happy current clients, okay? One thing to note about this is that you do have to teach clients how to refer to you. This is not to typically something that people know how to do naturally unless they've been in business themselves for a while. Then they understand the power of a referral, but they don't always think about it when they're not an entrepreneur. I'm going to do an entirely other episode about how do you create a robust client referral program for your financial coaching business and exactly how to talk with your clients about how to refer to you and that sort of thing. Another way to allow other people to help you get your word out is to ask for feedback and reviews and testimonials. These will absolutely speak to a brand new prospect almost better than you can. Some of our best testimonials that we have online say things like, I was so nervous before I called. It took me 6 months to call, and I wish I would have done it sooner. And it's like, oh, that is just beautiful, right? Because for the person who is sitting there reading that, thinking, I've waited a month, I keep checking out their stuff. Every time they post things, it totally resonates, but I'm not reaching out. I've already waited a month, and here this person is wishing that they hadn't done that, right? Like, it really can speak to a prospect better than maybe what we can ourselves. Another way is your referral partners, asking them to share your freebie opt-in or your good blog articles that you've written or any videos you've done, any great resources you've created, whether it's a handout or a download, asking them to share that either on their email list or in their communities and that sort of thing. Your friends and family. Now, this may not always be the best source of business is from friends and family because sometimes they don't quite understand what we do. I want to encourage you to have those conversations with friends and family. But I know my mother-in-law, for example, God bless her, tells everyone still, I've been doing this for 14 years, still tells everyone that I'm a financial advisor. And when somebody asks her about investments and stuff, she says, oh, Kelsa can help you. And that is not at all what I do. But I will say that she also has told people for years with our original podcast, the Fiscal Fitness podcast for our financial coaching business, she used to tell people for years to go watch my podcast. So I just don't think she always gets it. And that's okay. She tries. She genuinely cares about supporting us. And I love that. And I just kind of giggle about it, right? The last way that you can get clients or have your audience or your people spread the word for you is through a professional network. And the more specific you are with your niche, the better this is going to work for you. Even peers or other experts inside of that industry will absolutely refer to you. You'll be known as sort of the expert for helping people in that way with money. And we're going to talk about niching in just a second as well. But absolutely creating a professional network of people could be amazing. Okay. Now, those are all the ways in which you can have productive conversations, but I know it's not always easy. So here are some additional steps and tips and strategies that I think could also help you if this is an area that you're nervous about. One of the things that we see happen all the time with newer coaches is they have all of their conversations online. And while that is okay, here's what happens. You can, when somebody DMs you on Instagram, let's say, or messages you on Facebook, you can think about how you want to respond before you respond. Not necessarily a bad thing, right? But you can sort of like finesse your answer, read it, and then reread it and edit it before you hit send. And that can be really valuable when you're trying to figure out how to talk about what you do and that sort of thing. But that can't possibly replace the power that comes from having real conversations in real life with a person standing right in front of you, so that when you say something, you're actually practicing the words coming out of your mouth. It's becoming more natural for you to say those things, right? One recommendation I have, if you are spending a lot of time right now online in your marketing, every time you send a message to somebody and you've typed it, I want you to read that message out loud like 3 to 4 times, because I actually want you to practice talking about what you do and not just writing about it and responding when you can edit it. It's a really beautiful growth and learning that can happen when you have to answer a question that someone's asking you. You don't have time to edit it. You don't have time to proofread it before you say it. And yes, I know that's why it's scary and why we want to play it safe, but that's oftentimes where the most growth can come from, right? We also get to pick up on their nonverbal cues. So as I'm explaining what I do and I'm trying to practice, like, how do I explain this to somebody? Then I get to see, like, are they leaning in right now? Did that kind of like perk up their eyebrows a little bit? Or did they kind of gloss over over a little bit. And so I know maybe I lost them. The way I said that did not land. It didn't resonate, right? And we can't always tell that through a message exchange online, which is why it's so important to have both in-person and online conversations. If you're a newer coach, so step one, here's strategy or tip number one is to get outside your comfort zone. If you're a newer coach, calling yourself a financial coach might feel like an identity shift. And it feels like a new title or a brand new label that you don't yet fit into. I equate this to trying on a new outfit that maybe is a little outside your normal style of clothing, right? If you ever think about the time, like I don't ever get dressed up too much. So when I do get dressed up and I've got a lot of bling on or something like that, I'm kind of like, God, is everyone going to notice that I look different, right? Or that this isn't something I normally wear. Or I might wonder like, can I really pull this off? Is this really me, right? And I might look at somebody else and be like, oh my God, this outfit would look so good on that person, but I wonder if it sort of fits me, right? Calling yourself a financial coach initially sort of feels like that, right? Like we don't know if it really fits us yet. It's like we're trying on an outfit for the very first time. And the more you wear that outfit, the more you start to feel normal in it and it starts to feel natural, right? And the same is true for stepping outside your comfort zone and calling yourself a financial coach. Call yourself a financial coach every single day. Look in the mirror and call yourself a financial coach or introduce yourself to somebody as a financial coach as often as you possibly can. Number two, it's going to feel awkward at first. Having these conversations takes practice and it feels clunky for all of us, okay? That isn't a reason not to do it though. It's actually a reason to do it even more because the more you do it, the easier it becomes and the more natural you will feel doing it. The third strategy that I want you to focus on is bolder messaging. We're going to talk about this in just a little bit as well in a future episode, but boldness and confidence so that you can stand out online. So I see two things happening. Number one is too many coaches are spending all of their time online and not balancing that with in-person conversations as well. And then to make that even worse, their messaging is very general or not very bold, and it seems very timid. Or you see a lot of like living paycheck to paycheck is something that like, if you say that over and over again, no one really knows what that means, right? So it's like, we're not landing, we're not resonating. The online space is very loud, and you need to be able to penetrate that, right? You want to be able to stand out so that you are out of 20 posts, we need as many of those to penetrate that noise as much as possible. So focus on having more bold messaging. Another thing you can focus on how to get clients, another skill to sort of lean into is articulating the value of your offer and what you do for people. So how do you answer the question, what do you do? And continuously refine this, continuously up-level how you say it so that it lands. How can you make it more powerful, right? Practice this in order to figure out what lands and what doesn't land. The first couple times you do it, it's probably not going to land, and that is totally okay. I have been there, I promise. There are so many times where I have gone to a networking meeting and I've said something and I sort of think to myself, like maybe I seem confident when I say it, but in my head, the dialogue that is happening is, oh, Kelsa, that was not good. Why did you say that? That is not like going to land. That's not going to resonate. That doesn't even feel good to me, right? And so you know what? You take note of that, and the next time you learn and you make it even better, okay? The other thing you can focus on to help you get clients is sharing client results. Helping clients achieve a transformation will absolutely make other people take notice, and that's what you want. It gives your clients a source of pride and and confidence. They will walk differently and carry themselves differently. And so while they're out, doing that, people are going to ask them, what are they doing? Hey, what have you changed, right? And they're going to be happy to talk about it. The better they feel about their transformation and the results that they're getting, the more they're going to want to shout from the rooftops that you are the person that helped contribute to that. And I just think that's a really beautiful thing. This last one is why typically client referrals will come later, because you need clients in order to get clients results, right? And then in order for them to be out walking and talking about them, we need clients. And so it will feel like naturally at first that there is a bit of like hustle mode and a lot of trial and error at first. This is absolutely one of the benefits of the Client Creator Challenge is that we cut through a lot of that trial and error as quickly as possible. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid, right? And then we help you figure out what's going to work for you, what kinds of things, just come off your tongue because you feel them to your core, right? Like that's really what we want to try and help you figure out. And then the last thing that you can focus on, and this is really important, is niching down. Niching down is focusing your offer and coaching on a small group of people who share a similar experience or a similar need or are part of a particular demographic. Niching down determines who you should meet with. When it comes to those referral partners, which networking events you might want to try and attend, who has a platform or an audience that you could reach out to that is in front of those people all of the time. So is there a particular podcast whose audience is your ideal client? Where your ideal clients are hanging out, specifically online too, because it's like which platform should you be on, which social media platform should you be on really depends on who your niche is. And it also helps you figure out how to create a message that lands. We are going to dive into niching down in the next 3 episodes because it is so important. It is a crucial element of your marketing and your client attraction efforts. It is probably the number one part of having more conversations. And remember, having conversations is what gets you more clients, but we want to be able to focus those efforts. We want to focus those conversations on the right people and in the right places. And niching down is the secret sauce. So really quickly, I want to share some results from the last Client Creator Challenge with you because we were able to score and measure exactly what it takes for each coach to get one client, right? So during those 90 days, we score a lot of different things. We're keeping track of a lot of different things because we're measuring what's working and what's not working so that we can pivot very quickly, right? And then what we're able to do as a team is take everyone's scorecards and really distill that down and look at it from a pattern standpoint. So last year in 2022, what we were able to determine is that here's what it took for every one client that was gained during the Client Creator Challenge. Here's what efforts were required. 3 one-to-ones, 2 networking events, 20 social media posts. I'm going to repeat those because I think it is so important. 3 one-to-ones, 2 networking meetings, and 20 social media posts. So that is what it takes to get one client. So I want you to think about what you have been doing, your current efforts, your consistency now in your marketing, how you're showing up, your client attraction efforts. I want you to think about what you've been doing. And this now becomes your benchmark. This is the milestone that I want you to shoot for. And it gives you a framework. If I need 2 clients, or if I want 2 clients a month, then I better be doing 6 one-to-ones every month, attending 4 networking meetings, and posting 40 times on social media. This gives you such knowledge, I think. I love knowing this number, honestly. I really do, because it gives me perspective. It gives me something to shoot for. We talk to coaches all the time who will like post something one time and they're like, oh, I didn't really get a client from it. I didn't get any comments. And I think this is very freeing. It's very liberating to know, listen, I just got to stay the course. I got to be consistent. Here's what I've got to do. And I'm not even going to question whether or not it's working until I've done 3 one-to-ones, 2 networking meetings, and 20 social media posts, right? Can't quit until you've done those things, right? And now here's the unfortunate part, but I always think if we know this, then we go into it with a fresh perspective and we can be prepared for it, both emotionally, mentally, time, effort, everything. It might actually take double this number initially, because You might not be great at doing one-to-ones at first. This is also a very common problem. We'll talk about this in a future episode of like how to productively do a one-to-one. But the idea is like if you're not really great at them at first, one trap that happens with one-to-ones is that you meet with somebody and for the whole hour, they talk about what they do and you maybe aren't assertive enough or bold enough yet to sort of reclaim part of that conversation so that you can also share what you do, right? So again, they're not always as productive or as effective at first. Our social media posts typically at first, like I was saying, are a bit too general. We're not really speaking to any one person. We're not really bold enough. We're not really relating with our ideal client. And so we might need to do more of those things at first. And I know that might sound discouraging, but again, I would rather know what I'm getting into versus feel as if I know and think and then wonder why it's not working and then internalize that, right? Or think, what am I doing wrong? Am I doing something wrong? All of that. And again, I've seen and had so many conversations with financial coaches who doubt themselves, but they've really done like half of this effort. And so they're wondering why they haven't gotten a client yet. Well, this is what it takes to get one client. It takes 3 one-to-ones, 2 networking meetings, and 20 social media posts, right? So you really want to work on all of those things I talked about, refining your message, having conversations, niching down, all of that. And the question that I want you to sort of ponder is, which avenue feels most natural to me? So for me personally, because we can't do all of those things, right? Like we can't possibly have a robust blog and be on every social media platform and attend every networking event and do workshops and presentations constantly. So we have to be decisive, right? So the way to be decisive is to ask yourself, which way feels most natural to me? I personally do best talking about what I do. I do not enjoy writing. I don't really feel like I am a great writer, to be honest. And so a blog and having a very robust blog is probably not an avenue that is sustainable for me or will be as effective for me, right? I like talking with people. I'm an extrovert. I get my energy from people. So attending networking events is not that challenging for me personally. And so I like them. So I'm going to do more of those, right? So simply ask yourself, which way do I feel most natural doing this? And now I want to caution you because keep in mind, there is a difference between like hating something and simply not feeling confident doing it. So if you haven't ever attended a networking event, you may be like really hesitant to go and nervous and like, oh God, I don't know about this and all of that. But you don't actually know if you hate it or not because you've never done it, right? You just don't feel confident doing it. And those are 2 very different things. Now, I do want to talk very quickly about niching down and just the importance of that. This is a really key part. We're going to dive into it in future episodes. But niching down means that you know where your people are. How do you talk with them? What do they need to hear? What's the best way to get in front of them? Who are they meeting with regularly already? And you want to connect with those people, right? Where are they hanging out? And so niching down is really important. And so we're going to be diving into that in the next 3 episodes. We're going to tackle a Niching Down 101 episode, why niching down is so scary, because I know you probably have a million hesitations about it. And then episode 12 is going to be all about exactly how to niche down. I'm going to give you a step-by-step process and the exact questions you can ask yourself to both identify and then refine your niche. So I am super excited. So it is the time of the episode for the reflection question. At the end of every episode, I like to give you something to ponder. Remember, coaching is all about applying what we're learning, doing something about what we know, and reflecting on a topic is absolutely an action. It helps you to gain clarity on what this means for you. What does this episode mean for you? Okay. You can simply reflect on this question. Maybe you want to journal out the answer or have a conversation with some other people about it. But the purpose is to deepen your awareness and help you gain clarity on today's topic. I also would love to invite you to share it with me. If you are watching this on YouTube, please go ahead and leave me a comment with your answer to this question. If you are listening to us on the podcast, go ahead and find us on Instagram. We're at Financial Coach Academy and tag us in your response. So I want you to just ask yourself very simply, how do I communicate best? How do I show up best? Do I love talking with people? Do I feel as if I can get my thoughts out better when I write them out, right? There are so many different options and they're all right. right? It's really whatever one is right for you. And so I just want you to ponder, how do I communicate best and how do I show up as my best self? Just a reminder before I close this episode, join us in the Client Creator Challenge that kicks off on January 15th. You can find all of the details under the events section of our website at financialcoachacademy.com. I believe financial coaching is the best and most rewarding way to make a living. I truly love what I do. If you're ready to learn and see how to become a profitable, successful financial coach, check us out at financialcoachacademy.com to learn more about our online courses, free trainings, and events. As always, I would love to hear from you. Please share your thoughts. Leave us a review on the podcast platform if you are listening. And then let us know if you have any questions you would like us to cover in a future episode. You can submit your questions to us at financialcoachacademy.com/podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It would mean the world to me. I will see you next week when we're going to tackle Niching Down 101.